Morning, y'all. Waiting for the gym to be opened. So let's chat today about mortgages. When is it the right time for you to get your mortgage in your financial steps? And which mortgage should you get? Which one should you be able to afford? So the baby steps are like this. The very first baby step, the Dave Ramsey baby steps, you save $1,000. That's for emergencies. That's so you don't use credit or get loans if your car breaks down or whatever. After that, so like if you already have 10 grand in savings, you got it, and you take the 9 grand, you save 1 grand and get the 9 grand, and the next baby step is getting out of debt, the debt snowball. So you take those 9 grand and throw it at your debt. So anything on top of $1,000, you throw it all into debt, and then you go in, what's it called, combat mode, and every dollar that you can squeeze out of your life, you throw it at debt, you throw it at debt, you throw it at debt until you kill that debt. Once you've killed that debt, you save 3 to 6 months of your living expenses. That's your official emergency funds. So if you lose your job or obstacles or some emergency happens, which happens, you have 3 to 6 months to live. And for any big emergencies, even like you have to buy a new car cash, you have the money. That's the point of that emergency fund. Then what Dave Ramsey calls baby step 3B, which is saving up for a house. That's like not an official step, but that's the point you do it. Once you already have your emergency fund in place, you save up for your house, then you go to buy your house before you go into baby step 4, 5, and 6 if you want to. So once you're at baby step 3B, you're saving up money for a house. Which mortgage should you get? Which house should you buy? So you should get a 15-year mortgage with at least 10% down. That should be your goal. And the mortgage payment should not be more than 25% of your take-home pay. Okay? So this sounds very different than what you hear. FHA loans are 3.5% down with a 30-year loan, or trying to get your down payment up to get a conventional loan that's 30 years with 10% down because you're more marketable when you're making offers. But firstly, just so you know, FHA loans are super expensive. They have a bunch of little fees and stuff. So it's like, sure, you might have a low monthly payment, but you're buying a product that is expensive, more expensive than a 10% down 15-year loan. Then if you go a higher percent down and you go to a 30-year, like a conventional loan, 30-year, if you realize how much you pay in, interest in the first few years on a 30-year compared to a 15-year, I'm going to take a picture of a chart and let you see it right now so that you could go nuts. So take a look. You see the difference in the interest in the 30-year that you pay over the first few years and the 15-year, and then how much equity you end up having in the 15-year versus the 30-year. I mean, it's a no-brainer. You throw away a lot of money literally in the trash can with a 30-year. So that is your goal. You need to figure out a way to afford a house that is a 15-year mortgage payment with 10% down, that is 25% or less of your take-home pay. Now, if right now that puts you in a house that price range with houses or neighborhoods you don't like, or you don't want to live, or you want something bigger or better, well then that just means get your income game up. That doesn't mean go get an FHA loan. So set your goals, work it backwards, like what I said yesterday, leading indicators. Work it backwards. How do you make more money? Go get side jobs. And then work backwards. How much house do I want? X dollars. Okay, a $300,000 house. Oh, that means I need at least a $30,000 down payment. Okay, bam, you got that. So what's the loan gonna be? $270,000. Okay, now go online, at the current interest rates in one of those calculators and put in $270,000 at 15 year. See what that payment is, and then see where your income needs to be to get that house. But the point is, when you buy a house, you want it to be a blessing. That's why you have your emergency fund. That's why you have limits on how much it is versus your take-home pay. So you're not house poor. So you don't want to put all your money into closing costs, all your money into a tiny down payment, because that's what you got, because you feel like you're throwing away money on rent, because that's what everybody tells you. And you get an FHA loan, 3.5% down, you get the house, and then the fridge breaks. What you gonna do? You're gonna need a credit. You're gonna need to go to Lowe's or Home Depot and get credit to get a fridge, because you can't afford it. So the whole point is, money, like an emergency fund, is just literally a protection from you, like a gap between you and the inevitable that's gonna happen. There's always something's gonna happen. So prepare yourself, and that will keep you from getting out of debt, and most of all, give you a peaceful and happy life, because any emergency arises, you have what you need to take care of it. You know, you get laid off, it happens, you're all right. You're all right. You don't need to go into debt to survive. You know, it's like, you'll be fine. You know what I'm saying? But you gotta be intentional and put those things into place. All right? So that's the deal with mortgages. Have a great Saturday, you guys. All right. Just finished my workout, but I had one more quick thing to say. I had a dream the other day, and in that dream, I was trying to buy something before I could afford it. I was trying to buy it in advance. It's something I want for my son, literally, in real life. And it had like a special attribute that made it special, and it was more money than the thing I want to buy him, and so forth. And I wanted to find a way to get money somehow to buy it. And which way was I finding? A way that I could buy it now and pay for it later, i.e. debt. And I felt so just like upset with myself in the dream that I was even thinking of doing. I didn't even end up buying it. That I woke up realizing that I really need to do every single thing I can to stay out of debt. And that includes trying to not even get a mortgage, trying to buy a house cash. Now, I know that's a big feat. Like Dave Ramsey basically says, if you can't buy a house cash, the only acceptable form of debt is a mortgage, and with the terms that I set forth, a 15-year, where what you're trying to do is pay it off early. And all I gotta say is, whatever you end up doing, and by the way, my real estate license content, you know how many fees and taxes go along with mortgages? Not just the interest. It's like a bunch of stuff that you're just throwing your money in the trash. But of course, if you can't buy it cash, go to a 10% down payment. But if you go to a 20% down payment, you'll save money on PMI, private mortgage insurance. So that's a fee you got to pay with 10% down. You save money on that. But regardless, set your goals high. Say, how can I buy a house with 40% down? What does that look like? Set your goals high. How can I buy a house cash? Set your goals high. So one of my favorite quotes is, I think it's from Leo Burnett, which is an advertising guy of like the 50s or something like that, is reach for the stars. And if you don't quite make it, you won't come up with a handful of mud either. As in, if you say, I'm going to buy a house cash, chances are you're going to buy a house with like 50% down. At least, if not make the goal. But you're going to be in a better place than you were if you'd be like, all I need is this 10%. Why? Because you're going to start looking for more income opportunities. You're going to really cut back. You got this big pipe dream goal. BHAG, big, hairy, audacious goal. So anyway, I just want to say that because as I go through this process, make these videos, do the Dave Ramsey plan, get on my diet, be super disciplined, I'm really starting to dream bigger. And I want to say, I don't ever want debt. I don't ever want to pay anybody any fees and interest and have my money stolen from me. I want to buy a house cash. That's what I want to say. And I'm saying it, and I'm going to shoot for it. Now, if I don't quite make it, I won't come up with a handful of mud either. So shoot for the stars, guys. Own and control your money. And don't let anybody own and control you. The Bible says the borrower is slave to the lender. I don't want to be anybody's slave. I don't want to be owned by anybody. So shoot for the stars, guys. Shoot for the stars.